Owen JJ Stone is here to talk Facebook, drones, hovering cameras, and Tesla, and bagels. Why you should not advertise your illegal business on Facebook, and what to know before you GoFundMe. All that and a whole lot more coming up on Tech News Today.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by CashFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today, episode 1560, recorded Thursday, July 21st, 2016. This episode of Tech News Today is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. Are you hiring with ZipRecruiter.com? You can post to more than 100 job sites, including social networks, all with a single click. Screen, rate, and hire the right candidates fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/TNT. And by Igloo Software. Igloo is an intranet you'll actually like. It connects people with the information they need to do their best work. Try it for free at igloosoftware.com/twit or sign up for a live demo to see it in action. And by Trunk Club. Get clothes that fit and look amazing without ever stepping into a store again. Trunk Club will help you create the wardrobe you've always dreamed of with your own personal stylist. Go to trunkclub.com/TNT and join Trunk Club today. Hello, welcome to Tech News Today. This is the show where we talk about all the technology news that you need to know in order to look smart at cocktail parties or soccer games or other places. I am Megan Morrone. Jason Howell is out today, but I am joined by Owen JJ Stone, or Odocta, as he is known on Twitter, even though he is not a doctor. Welcome, Owen.
I could be a doctor. Sometimes I dream. He is me. You know, it's one of those things where sometimes I just go along with it because I try to explain to people that I'm not a real doctor. But who knows anymore?
Who knows?
I could I could go give a speech and one day get a doctor, and then I'm actually a doctor, which would make all this legitimate. So that's one of my goals in life.
Well, good. And we'd have to erase this whole conversation from the internet because you are a doctor.
Exactly. So let's go with that preference, that I am a doctor.
All right. Well, let's get to the news. Elon Musk waited to announce his much anticipated master plan for Tesla almost at the exact moment when we finished yesterday's show. So in case you haven't read about it yet, it goes something like this. Tesla Solar is not really new, but newly important, or so Musk would have us believe. The idea is essentially an app store, but instead of apps, it's sun power, and Tesla wants to control it all. Musk also revealed the Tesla Semi, a ginormous solar commercial vehicle, to be revealed next year, and the cake topper, the future ability to share your Tesla with a push of a button so you can make money from your super expensive car when you're not driving it. What do you think about all this, Owen?
I think it all sounds delightful. I love Elon besides the fact that sometimes he sounds like a crazy person, but you need crazy people to make the future happen. But I love him just because he's bringing solar into something that's cool. You know what I mean? My neighborhood, a lot of I think it's like 40 or 50% of the houses now have solar. And they have like a big initiative going on to get all the houses with solar. And I think that's amazing. Why don't we do that everywhere? Elon is pushing that forward. I just don't know who the heck is renting out their $120,000 Tesla for somebody else to use it. I don't think that's really going to work out too much. But
well, it is interesting.
Else sounds great.
Because, I mean, Lisa offered me Leo's Tesla to drive occasionally if I wanted to. So I know they are. But and that was before they even knew they could make money off of it. But I don't know if Leo knows about this.
Because they know you. Are they gonna push a button and send their Tesla off to go play at school while they're working for the day? I don't think that's gonna go down. Because essentially it's like you're said, hey, Johnny, why don't you, instead of going to school today, just go off and make me some money and come back. Like sending your kid to go work and make money for you. And at $120,000, that thing's like my baby. So I don't know if I'm gonna just send my baby off for people to stain my seats or rip something or do whatever, and just the hassle. Usually rich people don't like to deal with things like that.
Yeah, I wonder if they're just betting on like the next generation feeling differently about owning things. I mean, that's what we always hear, you know, that millennials don't feel the same way about ownership. I mean, we probably didn't believe that a bunch of people would let strangers in their car, not driving it, but riding around in it. So maybe it's just like we haven't gotten used to the idea yet.
again, I fully and wholeheartedly believe that a mid-level Tesla could be a huge boon to someone's economy. When you get into an Uber, okay, there's rare occasions. There's like one guy I know that does Uber in a Tesla. You usually don't see someone in a $750 Benz or a 500 SE Mercedes doing Uber. You know what I'm saying? So that's my point to that. Like when you have a high-end luxury vehicle, you're usually not an Uber driver. If you've got a nice Honda Accord or a Camry that's fully, yeah, sure, a $40,000-$50,000 car, it might be cruising around the streets as your Uber, but not a $120,000 car.
Do you think they're maybe just trying to test this system? Because I mean, I think with all self-driving cars, I mean, with all ride-hailing, ride-sharing, Uber, like the end game is all going to be not only self-driving cars, but possibly not even really owning a car at all. So do you think they're just maybe testing a system wherein like a fleet of Teslas that don't really belong to anyone can be bigger than Uber?
Yes, and obviously, I'm always Captain Debbie Downer in reality about things, but I was doing some work for a client in Dubai, and I came across a video on a site where they had a Tesla autonomously driving around picking people up, and they were getting in the back seat of the Tesla, and they're like, oh, there's nobody in here. And they would ask them where they wanted to go, and they'd say it, and destination would go in, and off drove the Tesla. And it was like 10 different people, families, stuff like that. Everybody thought it was amazing. Again, in Dubai, that could get down. Like if you're in LA and there's like somebody who just wants to buy 5 Teslas and send them off for the day to go make money, yeah. I just don't see personal users doing it that much. And I might be wrong about that. Maybe I'm completely insane and rich people just want to send their cars off for other people to sit in them all day.
Well, I'll ask Leo when he gets his Tesla on Saturday.
Leo's not, see, he's in the bubble. He's not even a good test subject. Leo's like, he'll do it for fun. He'll do it for free. Hey, just drive my Tesla for free. Just take it.
That's true.
Case study.
Well, if you're going to successfully run one of the most popular places for people to find unofficial copies of movies and TV shows, you might think twice before you open a Facebook account for your business. Artem Volin, the 30-year-old Ukrainian man behind Kick-Ass Torrents, has been arrested after using the same IP address to log into the Kick-Ass Torrents Facebook page and then to buy something on iTunes. Legally, I might add. That was enough information for the government to get a warrant to compel Facebook and Apple to turn over Volin's information. That information, coupled with an undercover online ad sting, led authorities to his Bitcoin account. And that was that. What do you make of this story?
As a person who occasionally commits crime, I suggest better crime committing. That's like one of the worst things. Okay, so if you're doing, I don't know, when I've torrented before, and I hide behind every possible wall available. And if I was going to purchase something, okay, I'm not going to tell them myself because I'm not a criminal. Let me just, supposedly, apparently somebody could get like a debit card or a money pay card or do something. This guy is just out here willy-nilly. I guess he gets what he deserves, but I kind of feel bad for him because he actually bought something legit and he was trying to do the right thing, and that's what got him busted. And it's just Facebook to turn him in is one of the funniest things to me because Facebook is profiting off of so much piracy right now. That's criminal. Mm-hmm. I saw the whole Finding Dory movie on Facebook. I had already seen it, but I saw the movie on there. I clicked it and flicked through it. It was the whole entire movie, and it had 3 million views on it. And I'm like, how do you? No one's flagged this. Like you don't know that this is happening. Like. It's insane, but I feel bad for the guy, but I guess he's going to learn his lesson. This is a lesson to everybody else out there who's committing crimes. Church and state separation on your personal finances versus your criminal enterprise. Have a separate computer, an air gap computer. I'm not telling you how to commit crimes. I'm just saying Google it, you figure it out, and do it the right way.
Well, he's going to be charged with he's committing criminal copyright infringement, conspiracy to commit money laundering, 2 counts of criminal copyright infringement, and also being charged for using a me.com email address, just because that's dumb.
The money Hey, I still got my Mac email. I still got my Mac.com because it gives me street cred in these streets that I'm old school and I know what I'm talking about. But the worst part of all those charges is the money laundering. They got a hold of his Bitcoin. Like, oh, man, you're broke. You can't pay a lawyer. Like, he has no money. He thought he had his ducats offline, and he is just, in trouble. My heart goes out to the guy because I might have or might not have used kick-ass torrents at one point in time in my life. I'm just saying, as a technologist, you got to try everything and just find out how things work. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, it's the way the sting operation was so interesting, and it reminds you how legit seeming a lot of these operations really are. Because I mean, there was an FBI agent took out an ad for, I don't even know what it was, but contacted him, got an ad up on the Kick-Ass Torrent site, and then that's how they got his information. So it's like there's a whole economy here built around. I mean, Kick-Ass Torrent is one of the nicest things that have. I mean, there's all kinds of the dark web is full of really bad things that have very legit looking systems around them. It's shocking.
I totally want to know what this ad was. And I totally want to know what he bought on iTunes. What was it to shut it down? Was it the Superman behind the scenes extra edition trailer on Blu-ray that you couldn't get? Okay, what was it that you paid for that you, the owner of one of the biggest torrents in the world, couldn't get for free? I really need to know that. It's going to bug me for the rest of the evening. Well,
I think I don't remember what the ad was, but that you can find out by looking not at the TechCrunch article, but another article. I think it might have been getting a job in the United States or something like that. But you can look that up. I don't know what he bought on iTunes, but I do kind of sometimes wish that we lived in a world where he got in all this trouble and then they just said, oh, well, you did buy something legitimately on iTunes, so we'll just let you off. If that was if he, that was all it took to get off of something, that would be an interesting world to live in, wouldn't it?
If it were you or me, yes, but he was running an evil empire, giving out bajillions and gigabytes of content that did not belong to him. He is the head of a snake, and he had to be taken down. That's the total difference of the nice world you live in. If that happens to me, because occasionally, like I said, I may have or may not have, I don't know the statute of limitations. If you come down upon me, please live in the world that she just suggested and let me off. But him, he deserved a little bit of punishment.
Yes, agreed. Well, one of Facebook's internet drones has taken flight for the first time. The full-scale solar-powered drone called Aquila took off from an aviation testing facility in Yuma, Arizona. The drone stayed aloft for 90 minutes, which was 3 times longer than they'd planned. This was a big first step in Facebook's plan to bring internet access to remote places in the world. Owen, what do you prefer? Internet delivered by drone via Facebook or by balloon via Google?
I prefer balloons because they seem more majestic and they make me feel happy. Drones are autonomous with people flying over my house and looking at my daughter in the backyard, the swimming pool, or dropping bombs on people. So everything with drones right now is kind of just overboard. But the balloon just seems so nice. I've always wanted to take a hot air balloon ride, so balloons seem nicer.
So you're on team balloon.
Yes.
Have you had drones flying over your backyard, or is that just something you're afraid of in the future?
No, I was at my friend's house, and his neighbor, specifically for that reason, was flying drones over. And he asked me, he's like, do these drones have cameras? I'm like, some of them do. And he's like, my daughter's out here. She said, this guy flies a drone over here. And I'm like, not a guy, he's a kid, he's another kid. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, yeah, well, you might want to go over and knock on the door and talk to the parents about him flying a drone over your house then when people are swimming in your backyard. So yeah, it does happen.
It does happen. One of my 11-year-olds has a drone with a camera, and he took a picture of the neighbor's garden because he thought they have an amazing garden, and he printed out. He's like, I want to bring this over to the neighbors. I was like, okay, this is how people get in a lot of trouble. But he did go over there, and he said, I just want to I won't take any more pictures. And they were really, they're nice neighbors, so they thought it was hilarious that he took a picture of them. But yeah.
In general, I feel like this is amazing technology, and the power that it has in internet deserts, and bringing internet to people who have no access to it is amazing. At the same time, it really freaks me out to know that there are going to be drones scattering the planet, just free-willed, solar-powered. They don't need anything. They're just up there. And, airplanes flying, Skynet crashing, all kinds of weird things. We're moving into the future of movies where you just see things like this becoming bad. And they've always, I'm not saying that the world's going to turn into a whole bomb or whatever, but when you see these things start to come to fruition, it kind of makes you think wow, there could be something flying over you, just beaming something at you. And who's to say they're not collecting information, or what are they doing with it? all the stuff that goes along with them giving you free internet. Same thing with your privacy. What are we giving up to get that? And it just freaks me out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm with you with the balloons in terms of seeming like a safer thing to be flying overhead than a drone.
It feels better when you think about a balloon versus a drone. Like when that drone looks like a military operation, a balloon, you get happy when you. It's an emotional attachment and feeling. When you see a drone, it feels like a dark military object. When you see a balloon, it's like, oh, that's a hot air balloon. Somebody's going on a magic romantic ride and they're probably proposing to somebody or jumping out of it with a parachute. It makes you feel completely different with those two objects. So I'm team Google.
Okay, well,
this one.
You have convinced me. Well, this week we've been talking about Apple's health experiment with GlaxoSmithKline, and Owen, you pointed me to a Gizmodo article that claims that Apple's experiment is riddled with privacy problems and issues with informed consent. I read the article. I think riddled might be a bit of an exaggeration. As far as there were two issues. They got you. But what do you think? How do you feel about this study?
The one thing that they did was the agreement letter that you get on your phone. So every time somebody like Apple or anything, you get that small font, agree or disagree, and everybody just clicks agree. They never read what's on that. This for a health thing that has your information. It's a 9-page document. You're not going to read 9 pages. I wish that we had something that could say in like a paragraph that was like, look, you're giving out medical information that possibly could be hacked or gotten into. Are you sure you want to do this? If you're concerned, please read the following 9 pages. If you're not concerned and you just want it, agree. We need something that's more generic for people just to make them more aware, because we're on autopilot whenever we see something like that this is just one more thing I have to click through to install this app. And it doesn't really register to people anymore what they're giving up by saying okay. So that's the one thing about this article that really pointed out and brought home to me is how none of us read these 9, 12, 15-page agreement letters to understand what we're doing when we're giving up to get into these applications.
And I agree with that. But whenever I go to the doctor, I've participated in studies before, and it's the same thing. There's pages on a clipboard that I'm flipping through and not reading. Or, I've done studies on iPads in the doctor's office, and I'm just scrolling through. So I think that's not necessarily anything new.
When you're in the office of the doctor, you are in his sanctuary, and you feel safe and comfortable that this doctor is competent, doesn't want to lose his job, and is going to keep your information. Now, when you just give somebody a cell phone and they're out running their regular day, and they say, I want to participate in X, Y, Z, now we're floating every single bit of that information through the airwaves. It's not on a secure network like in your doctor's office. It's different. It's different.
Right. Well, I mean, my issue is, you said giving people a cell phone, but nobody's giving you a cell phone to do this study. So everybody who does this study has to have an iPhone that, can run this app, like a newer. So already you're sort of cutting out a section of the population in this study. But I spoke to Leo about this and Georgia Dow as well. And it's like that's how research works. I mean, you're often cutting out a large section of the population from it anyway and hoping to still get good results.
Yeah, I'm all for, like I said, I just wish there was something that slowed us down to think about it, because again, it only takes one person to have their horror story about how the internet did them wrong and somebody came in and stole their dog, and then it makes everyone else scared to do it for 6 months. And those are the things I like to avoid, because nothing is 100% and nothing is perfect. Sometimes people will get caught up in I'm just supposed to click this to get through to the next thing, and they never really think of privacy. Like we had all those Facebook issues a couple of years ago where people were like, Facebook can't do this or do that. And they're like, well, they can, because people didn't realize what Facebook was allowed to do, because you just click the button and keep it moving.
Exactly. Well, moving on, Leslie Jones is back on Twitter. A few days ago, we talked about how the Ghostbusters star tried to stand up to racist trolls, but left Twitter in tears. Now she is back and has thanked everyone for their love and support. I would like to believe this means good is winning on Twitter. Do you agree, Owen?
Good always wins on Twitter. First of all, I scavenged the internet and found her email, and I wrote her this long email apologizing for the internet and telling her how much I loved her and I love Ghostbusters and my daughter loved it. And people that hate Ghostbusters are just old and they can't get out of their own way and they need to go see it with a child so they can see it through the child's eyes and enjoy themselves. Secondly, Leslie and the internet, the good always wins. The thing that cracked me up the most when people were like, we always kind of go overboard with that when we get upset about something. They're like, we need to have verified accounts. We need to have social security numbers and find out who every single person is. And that's the only way you get a Twitter account and internet and social media. And I'm like, but then I wouldn't be able to watch the guy who says modern day Seinfeld or Jesus or God when they're being comedic. I mean, I like those things, and those things are the most awesome part of the internet. So yes, there are jerks out there, but there's jerks everywhere. And usually what happens is people show up and beat them up and send them back home crying, and then they stop. Or you could kill them with kindness. I get yelled at all the time on the internet. Just from being on this show, someone's going to tell me that I don't know anything about technology and I shouldn't be talking about it. And I usually say, well, look up my web address. It's been online for 15 years. I've had businesses. I know about the internet. I've been around for a long time. I'm sorry that I'm a regular dude and I'm not in a bubble. And they say, oh, I didn't know. I'm so sorry. And then they follow me and be my friend. When just 20 minutes ago, I was a horrible person that I should walk off a cliff. So good always wins. And that's the story I'm sticking to.
I like that story. Well, after the break, you want to be generous when a friend is in need, but what about a friend of a friend of a friend? Stephen Petrow from USA Today is here to talk about what to do before you donate to someone's GoFundMe campaign. But first, let's take a minute to thank ZipRecruiter, the sponsor of this episode. Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your jobs to find the best candidates fast? Posting jobs in one place is not enough to find quality candidates. If you want to find the perfect hire, you need to post your job on all the top job sites. And with ZipRecruiter, now you can. With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post to more than 100 job boards, including social media networks like Facebook and Twitter, all with a single click. Just post once and watch your candidates roll into ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. Search by skills, location, work experience, and more. ZipRecruiter's advanced matching technology delivers the most relevant candidates based on your criteria. ZipRecruiter offers optimized pages that look great on any screen. Add their unique mobile apply process for more visitors and applicants. Find candidates in any city or industry nationwide. No more juggling emails or calls to your office. You can add multiple users to your account. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by over 800,000 businesses and is trusted by hundreds of Fortune 500 companies. More than 125 million candidate applications have been delivered. So whether you're hiring right now or you plan to hire in the near future, check out their blog for recruiting tips and hiring resources. Right now, you can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/TNT. Access millions of resumes on ZipRecruiter with thousands of new ones added daily. ZipRecruiter is the fastest way to hire great people. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/TNT, and we thank ZipRecruiter for their support of Tech News Today. So just lately, I have been seeing a lot more GoFundMe campaigns for tragic situations in my social networking feeds, often for people I don't know, but often posted by people that I do know. And I feel some guilt every time I scroll by them. So I was very glad to see in this week's digital ethics column in the USA Today, Stephen Petrow wrote about this very topic, when to turn down that GoFundMe medical plea. Welcome, journalist Stephen Petrow, the guy to go to for digital manners questions.
Great to be with you again. Thanks for having me.
So how can we know when to trust GoFundMe campaigns?
Well, like you, Megan, I've been receiving a lot of these emails as well, most of them from people that I know or I think I know them, but as well as from a lot of strangers. And the reason I say, I think that I know them, because in doing research for this column, I came across a number of cases, and I'll just describe one, this really terrible tragedy. A woman died shortly after childbirth. Her fiance was left. A GoFundMe campaign was started in his name. $4,500 was raised, and friends and family gave to that. Well, it turned out that the person who raised that money was a scammer. They went off with it, and the poor father never saw any of it. And so, this is really emblematic of some of the type of problem that we have, because you can't always know who is behind these campaigns, even when you think you do. So, one of the rules of advice I have is, for myself, is only to give to people that I know have undergone, a terrible situation or terrible problem. And when I'm not sure, I ask. I just send them an email and say, I just want to double check that this is you. Or if it's a friend of theirs who's doing it for them, to do that. And then you should get an email back from them and that should confirm it. But I think in the case I just described, people didn't do that. They trusted, and we know that when you trust on the internet, that's when you get into trouble.
And I mean, we're more likely to trust when our heartstrings are pulled a little bit. I mean, that's been the case for lots of scams. So I mean, it's people just finding sort of a new technology in order to take advantage of us in this way.
Well, yeah, and I was thinking back to when I was growing up, or even just a couple of decades ago, there were always fundraisers to help people, bake sales, cake sales, whatever, and you would raise $100, maybe you'd raise $300, and that would be great. But that would not be enough. You knew those people, though. You were in a community. Now it's really a different world, and we have the opportunity to raise so much more money, and the costs of medical care are really astronomical. So many people actually need that, and that's a benefit of what we're able to do online. And I'm talking about GoFundMe mostly, but there are a bunch of other sites and services, Indiegogo, Life, and Rally, and YouCare. So they're all part of this, but knowing the person or trying to know is really important, as well as saying to yourself, I am not going to judge, what they do with it, because there are instances where we give money to people that we do know, and we think that we're giving it to for an operation. Well, we don't know that they haven't spent it necessarily on a graduate degree. You don't have any accounting, and when you give to a charity, a reputable charity, there are accounting procedures. They are evaluated each year. So, again, there's a little bit more risk involved. But in my interview with the spokesperson from GoFundMe, he said, it's less than 0.1% are scams. And I think that's really important to remember, because the headlines are about scams, they're about frauds, but there's so many people in need. And I was asked earlier today when I was doing a Facebook Live chat on the USA Today site, do I give? And I do give. I give when I can. I give to friends. I give often, and it's because these people need help. We don't have a healthcare service in this country that makes sense and that does not support people.
Owen, you had a personal thought about this.
Hello, Owen. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Steve. Well, first of all, a couple of things you just said. You just made me feel a lot better when you reiterated the 1/10 of 1%, because again, usually the negative doesn't register in someone's mind with the positive. So I was thinking, I'm never donating to a GoFundMe ever again. These people don't deserve. But you made it more feasible to how that goes on. But today I wanted to start a GoFundMe, and I didn't because I wasn't directly involved with what I wanted to start it for. And I thought that since I'm not directly connected, even though I had good intentions and I would have sent the money where it needed to go, I felt like I don't know this person I wanted to raise the money for. I shouldn't be doing it. And I know somebody else might do it, but I feel like if I'm not connected to it, I shouldn't do it. And again, that's just a moral fiber thing, I guess, because you see that some people are trying to do the right thing, or they are trying to help people. And the same thing you said about with charities. I don't give to charities. Ever since I heard about the scams and where CEOs are making all this money and they don't give to what they want to, I don't give to any of that stuff. When I could find someone locally to help, that's usually what I like to do. Like, I had a friend, he couldn't afford to send his kid to soccer. I paid the $200 so his kid could go to soccer that year. Like, I find things like that where I can contribute and I know that it's helping somebody and it's going to directly make a change. Because I feel like we just throw seas of money at things and you never know if it's really helping or fixing the problem. So with GoFundMe, I wish there was a way that we could verify at least who is getting the money. There was some kind of way that. Good.
Well, let's just say a couple of things. So on charities in general, there's a really great online service called Charity Navigator, and that tells us whether or not a charity is solid, where their money is going, and if it's going to where they say it is. So I really want to encourage you to give to charities because they can make a difference by pooling together so much of these funds. Unlike the GoFundMe campaigns, which are really helping individuals and not solving larger issues. And again, though, compassion is such a necessary part. And you said that you didn't set up this fund today. I really want to encourage you to do that because we're always waiting for someone else to step up and help someone. And I think that we need to grasp those opportunities when we see them because people they're really in such need. And 99% or more of these cases are real and demonstrated cases of need. So for everyone listening, don't listen to the headline. Listen to the substance of what we're talking about here.
So what? That's excellent advice. What percentage in GoFundMe did they take? So people should be aware also when they're donating that all of their money is not going. What percentage of do these companies
That's
take?
a really good point. So they take at least 5%, and then there's usually another percentage or 3% that's taken. So I always calculate that between 8 and 10% of my dollar is going to go to them. And they are for-profit businesses. GoFundMe is, all of them are, and that is the price of using them, of having the efficiency of using them. I had someone ask me today on the USA Today chat, well, if I don't want to do it that way, is there another way? And I said, well, if you know them, you can just write them a check. You can send them money. But also, this is not just about money. We are a community. We need to stand up and help people. So a lot of times, if you're in physical proximity, geographical proximity, it's not about dollars. It's really about showing up and helping people. Maybe you can babysit their kids. Maybe you can make meals. Do tangible things to help each other, to drive them to the doctor. I think this is all part of what it means to be in a community, and that these GoFundMe campaigns are helping us, by and large, to do that.
Right. I mean, you bring up a good point. I think sometimes we just think, oh, there's a technological way to do this. I'm going to use it. But what Owen was saying, if he had started a GoFundMe campaign to, pay for this person's soccer, then, 5% of it would have gone, to GoFundMe. So sometimes, like you're saying, if it's someone that's part of your community, it makes more sense to just write them a check or give them cash, or, some kind of, debit card or something like that.
Right. Exactly. Although I would make the point that while I don't like the idea that 5 or 8% is going to a company, that is the case with charities. They do have overhead as well, and if the difference is giving nothing or having 92% of your dollar go to somebody in need, honestly, I would go with the 92% and do it through one of these services.
When you were looking into this, how did they process the payments? So if a payment went to someone that was fraudulent, were they getting paid out PayPal and they just couldn't track down the person? Because I read that they couldn't retrieve the money, but can't they find out who the person is through however they paid the money out? Or does the trail just end that way?
Well, I learned a couple of things about that. So if I have this right, it's not until customers notify GoFundMe that they think that there may be a scam or fraud that the service will do anything. So they're not proactively themselves seeking out the scammers. And you have to notify them before the funds are distributed, because if the person has already taken the funds, they are scot-free, and we don't know where they're going. Now, presumably they could call law enforcement, and I don't know whether they do or they don't. It seems that they should, but the funds are generally gone, and it happens, in ways that the individual really can't do anything about that. So it is important, again, when I'm thinking about a community here, that if something smells like fraud or scam, there are ways on that site to notify the service of that, and you should do that immediately. Better to do that sooner than later, and even if it's wrong, then they will investigate it, and there's a much greater likelihood those dollars will go to the people who need those dollars.
Well, Stephen has a great article with this additional tips about tax deductions and some of the ethical implications of crowdfunding for medical care. So you guys can see that at USA Today or go to twit.tv, and we'll be on our show notes. Thank you so much for joining us. Stephen Petrow is a columnist for USA Today and the Washington Post. You can find him on Twitter. He's Stephen Petrow. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Owen, and nice to see you, Megan.
Have a great day.
Nice to meet you, Steve. I'll give it to a charity just for you. I'll do it. I'll get back on the wagon.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Now for some feedback from you. Tutaro writes, I downloaded Pokemon Go in Los Angeles before I flew overseas. I was in India for 5 days. There were tons of Pokestops and gyms there. I saw my first lure there at a business in the airport. In both places, I had no problems except for the occasional try again because of server issues, and sometimes the app would freeze after catching a Pokemon. I arrived back in LA yesterday. I was surprised at how few Pokestops there are here compared to India. India was practically littered with them. I know we couldn't get through the show without talking about a little Pokemon Go, Owen. So I know you were curious about the international Pokemon Go situation. So thank you for filling us in.
Not to toot my own horn, but my Twitter does say that I'm from the future. And I was on Twitter talking about Pokemon Go the first week. And I said that someone is going to quit their job and travel the world to go Pokemoning. And about 3 days later, there's an article about a guy who quit his job and he plans on traveling the world to go Pokemon. And there you go, a tip from the future. But I want to see how long this goes, because it's actually really one of those great things to get people out of their house and to do something. And as much as I want to like bash on adults for being 5-year-olds, it's nice to have some joy and get people out and talking to people and hanging out and doing things together. You know, with all this diversity going on in the world right now, when you go to like a park or something, 8 o'clock at night, and there's like 100 people there, you're like, wow, that's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to get some more Pokestops out here, I guess, or put some more Pokestops at polling places. But that's what they need to do. They have like the super rare Pokemons at the polling places in November. They have everybody go out and try and catch them. They can wait in line, and you get your Pokemon after you vote.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking we should do like a craziest Pokemon headline story, and then I just realized like there's too many. There's too much out there. Like you could literally search for Pokemon and anything. Pokemon funeral, yes, people are playing Pokemon at funerals. Like Pokemon wedding, yes, check. Like anything, there's nothing. Everything. The truth is too crazier than
they're falling off cliffs. They're walking into walls. Like the guy that hit the police officer, the park police officer car. Like, I'm just like, oh man, it's everywhere. It's a phenomenon, and it's crazy. It really is crazy. Like when you see like people in Central Park, like, okay, so I tell people about New York versus California. California people are like kind of like fake nice, where they're nice to you, but they're kind of not nice. New York, no one cares about you or anything. They're just doing their thing and they're going about their day. And when you see thousands of people running around the park playing a game together and they have nothing to do with each other but this game, I'm like, wow, is this like Woodstock or something? Like, why is there so much love and joy being shared around in these parks? It's utterly amazing what's going on right now.
Right. It's love, it's joy, it's outside. And that's all we'll say about it today.
Catch them all.
After the break, a few of Owen's picks. But first, let's take a minute to thank Igloo, the sponsor of this episode. People are used to a lot of different cloud services to get all their work done every day. Whether you're using Salesforce, Zendesk, Google Drive, it's harder than ever to keep track of everything. Now you can easily bring your cloud-based apps all together in a modern intranet with Igloo integrations. Igloo is an intranet that you will actually like. It's a cloud platform that helps you share files, collaborate on documents, blog updates, coordinate calendars, and manage projects. Unlike other solutions, you can customize Igloo to fit your needs and work with your current IT investments like Office 365, Salesforce, SharePoint, Active Directory, file sharing solutions like Google Drive and Dropbox, and support systems. Igloo also offers a variety of access, authentication, and identity services to ensure that only authorized users have access in private clouds over SSL and with 256-bit encryption. It's used by large enterprises and growing companies like User Testing, BDO, American Family Insurance, and ATP World Tour. Try it for free at igloosoftware.com/twit or sign up for a live demo to see it in action. When you sign up through our link, you can get your own Igloo for up to 10 people absolutely free. You pay nothing for as long as you want. Just go to igloosoftware.com/TWIT. So when I asked you what you're excited about, you mentioned 2 things that aren't available yet and 2 things that are. Let's start with the things that we cannot get yet. First, the hover camera. What's that?
Oh, I'm so excited about that. I really am. It's not even for me. It's for my daughter. Like when she's with her friends and they're like doing their Musical.ly videos and they're like holding their cameras doing. Well, hover is a hovering camera. All you do is throw it out in the air and it hovers at eye point. It's got facial recognition, body recognition, spatial recognition, Owen recognition, and it knows where you are and it floats with you. It follows you around and it just stays there. It's got a 4K video camera. It's got a blobbly megapixel. It is awesome. And I want one so bad. So I put this on the show. I'm going to go email them because I'm already on the email list. And I'm like, look, I talked about you. Send me one first so that I can get my greedy paws upon it. And me and my daughter can walk up and down stairs and hover with this camera. It is amazing.
I have something that I have to break to you. This is a drone.
Oh, no. This is not a drone. Do you know why it's not a drone?
Why?
It doesn't fly above me. It flies parallel with me and it hovers. It's different than a drone. You can call it a drone. They can call it a drone. But I told you about things flying above me and looking down at me. This is eye level. You see my man walking down the steps right now. This thing is with me. This is my personal space drone. This is with me. It's not the same. Don't try to conflate my dreams and excitement with my hover. Don't try to upset me. No, this is not a drone. This is my little buddy.
Thanks for clarifying that. So this wouldn't go into your neighbor's yard and take photos of
It can't go in your neighbor's yard.
Yes,
I go into the neighbor's yard. It follows me.
Got it.
That's the whole thing. When I walk forward, it walks forward. When I walk backward, it walks backward. Up and down. It's with me. No solo flying.
Got it. Okay. So the hover, we don't know how much it's going to be. And what's interesting, it's not a Kickstarter, right? It's just that I liked that about it.
Yeah, they're just making it and they believe in it and they're going to sell it. And hopefully they give me one for like 52% off. And I want one.
Approximately,
I really do.
Just approximately 52% off. That's all you ask.
If you put it out into the universe, Megan.
I signed up to be notified as well. And I just like the idea that you're not like putting your credit card down. You're not paying for something.
Again, what I was talking about with the GoFundMe, I've spent so much fake money on things that never came to me. Mm-hmm. I bought one of those credit cards, the first cards with all the cards in it. What was it called? The black credit card that you put cards in it, and it's a digital card. It's driving me crazy right now. I can't think about it. Anyway, it never came, and they kept my $150. And then they keep sending me emails that now they have the second version out, and the second version is better, and it actually works now. And I'm like, where's my money from the first one? Like, you keep sending me these emails. I'm subscribed. Anyway, yeah, no Kickstarter. It's great. I want one.
Creamy Corn Cob in the chat room says it was called Black Card.
Okay.
Does that sound right?
I can't remember it. No,
okay.
It's not called Black Card.
Oh, okay.
There might be one called. Anyway, forget it. It made me mad anyway. I shouldn't get them any kind of clickbait. Nothing. Don't even look at them. We're talking about the next.
Okay,
one.
yeah, we moved on. We don't care what it was called. We've purposely forgotten it.
Yes.
But I do want to hear about the bagel.
Okay. Now again, another thing that I'm super excited about. I personally don't really build or make anything. I have people for that. I call a friend to go screw in something and he does it. Like that's not what I do. But oftentimes I need to know the circumference of something, especially like my waist. You know what I mean? I know I'm a big guy, but I just wonder how big around am I? How big actually is my head or the surface in a chair? And this is a tape measure that could do all of these things. And it is amazing. Now there's tape measures with laser scopes. You got them on your phone where it tells you to. This thing does everything and it looks and feels like a regular tape measure. It is amazing, and I want one. I want it so bad. It's got a little string, so you can, like I said, measure the circumference or the distance. It's just great for measuring things when you want to feel like a handyman, which that's the extent of my handymandom is measuring things so I can tell people what to build in that space.
It apparently has 3 different ways to measure. Like, I guess you were describing that around in the air. It has a laser pointer. You can measure depth as well.
It does everything. It does everything.
But it's a Kickstarter, and it might be the same situation. I know the name of the company, and I think many people in the chat room were saying it, but I'm not going to say it because we don't care about them because they didn't ever give you the thing.
No.
But do you trust that the bagel people are going to give you the thing?
Okay, so I believe in this. There's certain things I believe in more than other things. I believe in somebody who makes a cup. Like I bought a coffee cup that is shaped like a horn, and I believed in that because you can make that. I'm more upset about like crazy 3D printers. The guy who said he had the $100 3D printer and his partner stole all the money. Like those things bother me. And there's a lot of intricate pieces. This is a tape measure. It looks legit by the video, which could be CGI. I don't know, but I want it so bad. I believe in it, and it's small enough. and the price is right where I feel like I could jump in and get it. Like you could make notes on your and send it for your phone. Like you measure something, you say what it is, it sends it to you. It's just amazing little gadget, and I want one.
I want one kind of too, because I do actually have a tape measure, but it's like you have to put it put it
And
around
then when
something,
you put it down,
measure it.
or if you're measuring something far away, you need somebody to hold it for you, and then they're down at the other end, and you're yelling at them like, "Is it on the end of the block? It is. Is it on where I wanted it at? Because I can't mismeasure this thing." But if I could do it all by myself and then yell at people how to build things, I feel more like a grown man and more in control.
All right, the bagel. Okay, so here's something that you have now, and you can get it now. Mirror's Edge. Why do you recommend it?
This is the second version of the game. There was an old version, like this is the first version of the game 4 years ago. It's a beautiful game. It's like every other kind of first-person adventure game that you get to play, but it's just so pretty. You're a thief. You're a package delivery person. You're running through these rooftops and you're committing missions and you're trying to escape the evil empire of the world. And the man's trying to hold you down and you're just saving people and making it do what it do. But it's just pretty. And it's so much fun because it's awesome. You get to fight things, kick things, shoot things, and parkour. If you ever dreamed about doing parkour, I really couldn't get over a bench right now running and jumping, but in this game I could climb walls and scale fences like nobody's business. So it is a very beautifully made game, and it's fun. I'm like halfway through it right now.
And it's available on most platforms, right?
Yes. It was originally a PC game too, so a lot of old school heads. I'm not a PC guy, but that's where I played the first one at. So a lot of PC heads are into this game, and they love it.
Awesome. Mirror's Edge. And what about Drake's Fortune?
I may or may not have been playing it the last time I was talking to Leo. I actually got one of the collector's editions that has all 4 games. This game is like a movie. The best way I can describe how much fun this game is that I play it with 2 or 3 friends right now, where they log into my PlayStation and they play for an hour at a clip, and I just watch them play. And then when their hour is up, because it'll capture it an hour, I play for an hour and they watch it. And that's how we're going through this game. We're all just watching each other play the game because it's literally like a movie. And with 4 games in now, you can buy a 3-game pack for like $30. You can get all 3 games for $30 and then get the 4th game for $60. But it's literally a story. And if you've ever played Tomb Raider, it's a male Tomb Raider on steroids with a story that's believable and amazing, and it's super fun. I love this game. It's so well written. The music is great. The story arc is great. The history, which a lot of the history in games is sometimes not. The history in this game is factual for the most part. Of course, there might be some monsters and things going on, but if you went and Googled some of the things like Marco Polo and where he went on expeditions, you're like, oh, wow, he really went on an expedition there. So this game is just a movie that you get to play yourself, and it is amazing.
And you learn stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, after the break, we'll have more on gaming, a role-playing game that's coming to the Apple Watch. We'll decide if this is or is not ridiculous. But first, let's take a minute to thank Trunk Club, the sponsor of this episode. Summer is here. It's time to spruce up your wardrobe with summer essentials like short-sleeve button-downs, lightweight blazers, and swimwear. Whether you're looking for beach formal attire or grown-up graphic tees, Trunk Club is a shopping game changer for men and women. I didn't even know what beach formal attire was until Trunk Club schooled me on this. It's a real thing. Fancy at the beach. I went to the beach and it was there, and they set me up before I left on my vacation. Thank goodness. Otherwise, I would have looked ridiculous. It's real beach formal attire. With Trunk Club, you don't have to know about the latest trends, and you'll never have to step foot inside a store for your clothing needs again. Plus, you get your very own personal stylist for free. Just type in your measurements and share your style and spending preferences to connect with the right Trunk Club stylist. He or she will contact you via phone, email, or messenger to understand your unique look and learn more about what you're looking for. Your stylist will select items from your trunk from over 80 different brands and will send a preview of clothes that might be a good fit for you. Review your trunk via email. Make edits before it's shipped right to your door. You'll have 10 days to try on the clothes, keep what you like, send back the rest. Trunk Club is not a subscription service, and shipping is always free both ways. Trunk Club is backed by Nordstrom, which means premium clothes, expert advice, and the highest standards in quality and customer service. Make a statement at the next big event on your calendar with a look that's handpicked just for you and your style. Get started today at trunkclub.com/TNT. Look and feel your best with clothes that fit you perfectly. That's trunkclub.com/TNT. And we thank Trunk Club for their support. Now, Ars Technica is reporting that the Apple Watch will soon be the home of an RPG developed by Final Fantasy creator Square Enix. Aside from the fact that it will be called Cosmos Rings, we don't know much about it, including how fast it'll run out our pathetic watch batteries. Engadget reports that it might use the watch's pedometer. We're not sure. The Japanese website Gamer has a few alleged screenshots. I don't know about an RPG on the Apple Watch. What do you think, Owen?
I hope and I wish and I dream that this is real viable, because every single game, quote unquote, I'm not even going to waste my time to lift my arms to put the air quotes, is not a game, and it does nothing on the watch. You complain about the battery lasts a day and a half. You got to go to bed. You got to put the watch down. The battery's fine. But there's nothing to do with watch besides be notified about sporting events and text messages. So if I could play a game, or if I could give it to my child and shut her up for 20 minutes while I'm waiting in line, that would be amazing. So I dream that it's real and that it's viable and that it does something. I'm going to be positive about this. I'm not going to bash it because it does sound stupid and unbelievable and not going to happen. But I hope that it is real and it does happen and it's cool.
My battery, and maybe it's just me, maybe I got a bum watch, or maybe I use it too much, or maybe it's because I wear it in the shower, but my watch battery lasts not even a day, like 6 or 7 days.
Don't wear it in the shower. You're abusing your technology. Secondly, do you have the smaller watch or the bigger?
I have the
watch?
smaller watch.
That's a personal problem. And thirdly, double personal problem, because that's probably why your battery isn't lasting that long. Got to step up and load your wrist for bear with the bigger watch, and you'll be a happy girl.
Okay, yeah. And I also use the workout app for a long time. Every time I say that, it's like, that's my way of humble bragging. I'm going to talk again about how my battery runs out because I do these 3-hour workouts every day.
And when your heart rate's running at 120 half the day and you put in 15 miles, I mean, the battery's going to wear out. Bro. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Well, Owen, it's a pleasure once again. I never know what you're going to say, and it is always fun. Thank you so much for joining us. Are you working on anything that we can talk about?
I am going to be uploading a podcast, a new Doc Tales that I did with one of our kings of the internet, Tom. And me and Tom sit down for an hour and chop it up. And we kind of talk about technology, but we usually talk about the world. I even got time to talk about sports and what sports he played when he was growing up. So it's a fun interview style type podcast, putting that up tonight. Other than that, I'm just running these streets, trying to stay alive and hang out with you occasionally when you invite me back on to hang out.
Well, thanks so much. I will download that right now. I want to find out what sports he played as a child.
You got to wait an hour because I got to put it up right after we get done. I'm going to upload it.
I'll wait. All right. Take care, Owen.
Have a good night.
I forgot to say, if you don't know, Owen is ODoctor on Twitter. You can find him there. Tomorrow's guest will be coder Scott Hanselman. TNT records live every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 11 p.m. UTC. You can find it all at twit.tv/live. You can be part of the show by emailing us at tnt@twit.tv or leaving us a short voicemail at 260-TNT-SHOW. You can also hit us up on Twitter. That's at TechNewsTodayTV. Find all the ways to subscribe to our show at twit.tv/TNT. And if you want to tweet at me, I'm at Megan Morrone. Thanks to our technical director, Kara, and all the folks who help us produce this show every single day. Thanks to you for talking tech with us. We'll see you tomorrow.